Good evening and welcome to Late Night College Football Recap, Week 12 edition. As I am your co-host, yours truly, Jackson Johnson, and this man right beside me is the one and only Dallas Cowboy Louisville Cardinal, Austin Williams. How you doing, my good man?
I'm doing pretty good. It's a great day to be a Cardinal. We're going to the ACC championship game in 2 weeks to play Florida State. Just a great day all around. I still haven't gotten over it. I may never get over it because first one in program history. Got to enjoy it. We don't get these very often. I'm going to enjoy it, and hopefully we can cap it off by becoming the kings of the ACC. But we got 2 weeks till we get there. We got to take care of business next week. We can't let Kentucky spoil our season.
Well, that's for sure. But I will say, what was it that I told you in the off season about Jeff Brom?
You told me, Jackson, expect goodness coming my way. Expect a little goodness and greatness coming my way. And at first I was like, I don't know. We'll have to see. And now looking at it, I'm like, holy moly, Jackson's seen it all the way through. Because a lot of Purdue fans warned me. They were like, Austin, enjoy Jeff Brom. He's a good coach, but he's got a lot of flaws in him. And I even stressed that when we did the coaching carousel for the young guns. I was happy we got a hometown guy, but I was like, well, I'm hearing all this stuff about his clock management. His recruiting and his transfer portal, that's been spectacular since he's came back. But at Purdue, couldn't get much, in which, then again, that is Purdue. Can't really hold that against him. He is up against Michigan and Ohio State. Not many coaches can handle that. But yeah, Jackson, you said greatness was coming our way, and we're right on the doorstep of it.
Yep, that is for sure. But first, we have to cover this team. We got to cover the Michigan Wolverines getting their 1,000th win. Although somebody was having a little bit of fun with the Michigan Wolverines. It looked like Michigan was having some fun in the first quarter. But Maryland thought they were going to make a comeback, especially in the second half. Oh, man. We see Taluya, his little brother, making some of those big plays. But it was not looking like it was enough. What do you think, Austin?
Now, I'll preface this by saying, I caught some of this. I was more worried about my team at the moment. I try to stay locked in on when my team's playing, but I did catch some of this on through my computer. And Michigan, this was a classic, the look ahead game. Maryland didn't play that good in the first half, and then they were deciding, hey, we can't run the ball, but hey, Tulia, you got a heck of an arm. Go use it. We got some receivers, and Maryland, if they wouldn't have shot themselves in the foot so many times, maybe they could have pulled off the upset. But what I found interesting, Jackson, is after all this talk about the siren stealing and everything else, isn't it funny I caught this out of the corner of my eye, but wasn't it funny that Michigan was putting up their flag in front of the cameras? Like, if you got nothing to hide, Michigan, why are you doing that? Like, there's no point in that. Like, what are you hiding? What's the point of that? Just curious.
Well,
are you afraid?
I will say, Bill Burr was on the comedian, one of the best comedians ever. Bill Burr was on the side of Michigan when he was on the Rich Eisen show Thursday morning. He was like, Harbaugh's had trouble over those ticky-tack allegations. They're just ticky-tack. I mean, they're getting on to him about, a rule that's never enforced. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I get that, but it's like after everything that you've done, Michigan, and then apparently that there was reports that came out on ESPN that said that they actually did do it, the, and then they do this weekend. It almost seems too suspicious. Like, come on, Michigan. Like, like Jackson, too much of the stuff is starting to add up. Like, I know we haven't made much comments on it because you don't. We try to stay out of this until we get final results, but it seems like it's clear that they have found solid evidence against Michigan. According to ESPN, Pete Thermal, all them guys have said Harbaugh's doing this, the team has done this, and they're doing it to these teams, and it's all very interesting, but not to take away from Michigan's 1,000th win though. I don't want to seem like that type of guy that's going to rag on him. It's a great 1,000th win. They still have everything to play for. It's just you've got the dark cloud over your head.
True. And I don't think anybody's gonna have to worry about hearing about Michigan this, Michigan that tonight. I mean, I think you guys watching this show, I think you guys have suffered enough having to hear about the Michigan this, Michigan that. Did Michigan do this? No, Michigan didn't do that. I mean, no worries. You're not hearing this tonight, especially on the late night college football recap. I mean,
Yeah,
you'll be able to hear Michigan
wasn't trying to be
stuff. You'll be able to. Oh, sorry. You'll be able to hear Michigan stuff, but you'll be able to debate about it, especially on episode 17 of the Jacksonian Tuesday night with John D'Animo. So I mean, that you can be able to debate till then. No worries. Just get your debate points ready, chat.
But yeah, I don't want anybody to take this out of context. That I'm not raining on anybody's parade. I'm calling it what I've seen so far. I don't know if Michigan's actually guilty or not. Okay. I'm just going off what I've seen. And that's all I could do. That's why I haven't made no comments on it one way or the other until these recent days where I've seen all this and then all this coming out. It's like, is it true or not, Michigan? If you did it, just fess up to it. If you didn't do it, then show evidence that you didn't do it. As Jackson, at this point, I'm kind of getting sick and tired of it because it's like this is putting a damper on the football season. Because what if Michigan wins the Natty and then they get stripped of it? Then it's like Jackson, I know it's happened in college basketball. I understand that. I understand your pain, Michigan. It's happened to us in basketball. So it's like, if you did something, just fess up and get it over with. If they ban you, but don't want to rain on your parade, like I said. Don't want to be a Debbie Downer. I'll save that for Jackson and John on Tuesday. They'll have the debates for that. Congratulations, Michigan, on 1,000th win. I'm looking forward to seeing your game next week against Ohio State. Good luck to you, and I hope you win.
And good luck to Maryland, who I formerly dubbed as the Syracuse of the Big Ten. Still kind of figuring out who that title goes to now. Onward our next game. But we got ourselves a fun subject, We're not going to let this whole Michigan stuff get to us because we got your boys in Louisville, baby. They are officially the second best team in the ACC. All right. All right. You got the mic, my man. Take it away.
Yes. This is the game that I've been the most nervous about ever since I've seen our scenarios. It was simple as that. Win and we're in. Win and we're going to Charlotte. No questions. We don't need anything else to happen. And for us, this is a program landmark. We're going to the ACC championship for the first time in program history. since we joined the conference in 2014, basketball and football, we've never gone. Men's basketball, women's, I believe we have. But as for men and men's sports, I don't believe we have for those two. And just the way we did it, you know, we're not always the better team. Not always the better talented team as they say. We don't always win pretty, but I think this says a lot about us and who we are. You know, Nick Saban once had a famous quote. I think it stands true for anybody that listens, that championship teams find ways to win, whether it's ugly, pretty, beautiful, whether it's any of those, a win is a win. And yeah, we haven't always looked the prettiest. It like if you're going to judge us off beauty points, we would be dead last. You know, because every game that we played, there seems to be some way we find a way. And people still look at us and say, "Oh, you lost to Pittsburgh. You must not be very good." May I remind you, Pittsburgh is where ranked teams go to die, as my co-host up there always says. So it's one of those things you can't really look at that and say, normally Pitt would be good, but I guess Pitt, for whatever reason this year, had a bad turn of luck. But I will say, because I know Jackson wants to speak on this, I will say that all credit to Miami. They gave us a heck of a game. It took all 48 minutes, but we got it done. And, Jack Plummer, for as much crap as people give him, and I have too, he's our quarterback. Whether we like it or not, this guy wins. He may turn over the ball a lot sometimes and may make bad decisions, but this guy's our quarterback, and we're 10-1 with him. So for as much as we've, dog on him as Louisville fans, about, hey, Jack, you're very frustrating, but he's not always perfect, but he comes up big when we need him to. And Traffic Fools is here just at the right time as he gives us a big yo yo yo. Sorry, Traffic Fools. We had to take Miami out. I'm sorry about that, but business had to be done today. But heck of a game. Congratulations to y'all.
Honest, that last play of the game, I don't know why, but I was instantly thinking about Chris Berman and Tom Jackson, where they had that running gag of, "What do you do, Tom? What do you do, Tom? Knock it down." I mean, Louisville knocked it down all right, but Miami came up short. But
Jackson,
say,
I about had a heart attack. I
knew
did,
it.
And I'll be honest, I about had a heart attack. I was like, "Are you kidding me?" As soon as it went in his hands, I'm like, "Please tackle him. I don't want another Miami miracle. Not that, please." And then when he tackled him, I could breathe. Well, because Jacksonville, Miami, they always.
Told Mark, I called on the Voice College Football a while ago, and I was like, I had to feel my good buddy Austin. He was going to have a nervous breakdown, especially from that last play of the game, man.
Jackson, I had a nervous breakdown about all game. Miami, they're a tough team, and as much as people like to pick on them and their fans because they always say they're going unbeaten and they're going to win the Natty, they're a good talented team. Tyler Van Dyke, for much flack as people give him, he's a really good quarterback. It's just we made one play better than them today, and for that, we're going to the ACC title game. Got Florida State ahead, and we win that game, we're the kings of the ACC. Which we'll get to Florida State in a minute because we have some unfortunate news that we have to share.
Yeah. Some sad news. But I will say, this was a great game today. I mean, I loved it. I loved watching this game. and I loved watching the Oklahoma BYU game at 11 a.m. as well. So I mean, it was pretty fun for me. I mean, I know people say, "Oh, this was sloppy sleigh, this cupcake week." I'm gonna find a way to make it fun. This is the wonderful world of college football we're talking here. This is awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it is. And Jackson, I'll be honest with you. I may sound wimpy, but I just sat after the game was over. I just sat there and I got emotional because I was just so proud of what we have done. I it may make me sound wimpy, but I love this team, always will, and it's great it's a great day to be a Cardinal. We finally get to enjoy something, because we've had our heartaches, Lord knows. But Jeff Braun and the crew, thank you. Let's bring it home now.
There you go. Well, I was happy for it. Like, I mean, I will confess to you, I did pick Miami because I thought this is gonna be their Jekyll moment. But at the same time, I was like, I'm unhappy that my pick didn't turn out so well. But I'm more happy for my good buddy right beside me, Austin, because I was like, that's who I'm happy for, man. My good friend.
And Jackson, I
I
don't fault you for picking Miami, because Miami's like UCF. They have their Jekyll and Hyde moments. I mean, it's
oh
just who Miami is. They're 1 week they're playing Florida State down to the wire, and then the next week they're having like an 8 turnover game like they did against Duke last year. But speaking of Florida State, though, some unfortunate news. Jordan
yeah.
Travis, apparent leg injury, might be done for the season. Such tough news. What are your thoughts, Jackson? Hopefully he gets
I gotta be
healthy
honest,
for,
I saw
for the
that
NFL.
injury on Instagram and I was just like, oh, oh no. It's like, I felt like I was gonna be sick for a moment, seeing that injury.
Yeah,
It was just, I mean, I
I
really
will.
hope. I mean, I know he won't be able to play rest season, but that doesn't matter. I want to see this man get 100% healthy. I want to see him be all right, man. I worry, man.
Yeah, and for all the Florida State fans out there, I want y'all to know I'll be praying for him. This sucks. I'm not that type of individual that gets excited when a player gets hurt because this guy, he's got a family, and he might have a future in the NFL. And I was looking forward to playing Jordan Travis in Florida State for the ACC. I'm still looking forward to playing Florida State because you're still a great team. But Jordan Travis is electric, and he was even a Heisman favorite at one point. I just hope he gets healthy. It sucks that he went down, but hopefully it doesn't put a damper on our game in a couple weeks, and may the best team win.
Yeah, I was just like, good grief. I think what would help everybody is just stop putting these games on CW, man. It's great bad luck for everybody. Good grief.
But Jackson, to get us in a better mood though, because this is very sad, and this is not the point of this. Let's talk about let's talk about Clemson finally getting their act together, shall we?
For
Is
sure.
Clemson
I mean,
officially back on the
we're-
on the
oh yeah,
on the ride? Go ahead, good buddy.
yeah. Like, that game's making us happy for sure. Like, I mean, like a little while ago, I mean, you'll probably think Eeyore's happier than this, and he's got a nail up his butt. I'd be depressed too if a nail was up my butt.
But Jackson, what did you think of this? Do you think this was more bad Carolina, or was this good Clemson? The Clemson that we thought we would
Both,
see all along,
both.
and the Garrett Riley that you know and love from TCU finally putting a game plan together.
Oh, it was both, obviously, because I mean, North Carolina, I mean, I saw where Isaac Shade today, he was not too happy about how North Carolina played against Clemson, but at the same time, he's not been too happy about. He wasn't too happy that North Carolina lost to Georgia Tech and Virginia. And if they hadn't lost to Georgia Tech and Virginia, they wouldn't have to worry about, oh, well, we're not going to be in the ACC title game. So, unfortunately, NC kind of put this on themselves, really.
And I mean, here's the thing too, Jackson, and you can agree with me on this if you want. But whether Clemson's good, bad, or indifferent, when teams go to Death Valley, no team makes it out there unscathed. Just ask Notre Dame fans. Just ask Carolina today. People were like, "Oh, Death Valley, Carolina, too much offense. They should handle this." The heck, Death Valley isn't too much. I mean, Jackson, if Death Valley, how many teams have actually gone into Death Valley and won since the Dabo era? You would happen to know that.
Yeah, I mean, it's only been a few. Well, I mean, Florida State did this season. I mean, there's that.
Yes, my apologies. I should remember some of this. But yeah, the point is, though, Death Valley's hard to go in, especially nighttime. It's almost like going to LSU or Bama or Georgia or even Notre Dame at night. There's just something about it that you can't explain. You have to be there.
Well, in South Carolina beat Clemson and Death Valley last year, but other than that, those are the two most recent wins at Death Valley. Like, nobody wins there, like you said.
And it continued today. And, you know, Jackson, Clemson, they're finally getting their act together, looking good again. Who knows? Maybe they'll get a nice little bowl game out of it. A higher bowl seed than the. Go ahead.
I think, honestly, they're just going to win out. They're going to win their little bowl. And then everybody's going to go, woo, Clemson in the preseason. And we're just going to be like, this song and dance again. We got to see it to believe it.
Well, Jackson, now Dabo did say if Clemson was the stock market, you better buy all the Clemson stock you can, because it's gonna be worth a lot next year, according to Mr. Dabo.
That is true. And plus, there's that 12-team playoff, so that's definitely gonna help.
But you know something, Jackson? Are you buying some Chip Kelly stock? You know, because he may be looking for a job soon. And you know,
you think he's gonna be a rescue ranger like Chip, like his name Chip, or no? Oops, wrong Chip. That's that Chip and Dale cartoon.
But yes,
maybe he could do something like that, like team up with Dale Earnhardt and do like a little Chip and Dale cosplay or something. Like, it'd be like, oh, we're Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers. We certainly didn't rip off from Disney.
But yeah, do you think anyone's buying Chip Kelly stock, Jackson? I know I might be. He might be a good offensive coordinator somewhere next year, especially if UCLA is going to boot him out the door.
He's still a good head coach. I just don't think UCLA worked out. But I think the other question is, did Caleb Williams play his last game? That's the question right there as well.
Yes, that's very interesting. I will say it's all very interesting. I mean, what bowl, Jackson? For me, it all depends on what kind of bowl they get seated in. If he's the type of player that's going to opt out and say, I got the number one pick next year, I don't need to play. Or if he's the type of guy that plays for pride, or Jackson, the rumor mill has been going around everywhere that he may come back for one more year. I know a lot of people aren't buying that. I know a lot of people are saying that's just him being baloney. He don't want all that talk. Well, Jackson, after a year like this, do you think he might come back? One more year?
That is a good question. I don't think so. And I mean, I heard today on the USC channel at the
Introducing
Voice
Popeye's
College
new spicy
Football,
truffle
and
chicken sandwich.
especially from
Crispy
some
chicken and
people, I mean, there's a lot of people that are just kind of throwing the baby out with the bathwater, just like, oh, we gotta get rid of Lincoln Riley, we gotta get rid of him. I'm like, I know that you're USC and you can find any good coach, but who you gonna find better if that's the case?
Here's the thing, Jackson. Whatever happened to patience? I mean, Lincoln Riley had a great year last year. Incredible what he did with USC. And then he's got this year. It's like, I get it, you're USC and you're a blue blood and you're supposed to be contending for Pac-12 titles and playoffs, but what happened to patience, guys? I mean, even me, I even said, not to turn it back on us, but when Jeff Brom came back, I was like, if we go 8-4, that's a good year. 7-5, 8-4, that's good. That's a step in the right direction. But since we've had so great years now, it's going to happen to him too. If we fall like USC, they're going to be like, oh, we got to fire him now. And it's like, guys, patience. It happens. Not everyone can be Nick Saban. Like Jackson, why can't people get that through their head? Not everyone can be like Nick Saban. Not everyone can win 10, 12 games every year. Like, look at Kirby Smart. Look at him. He's a perfect example of patience.
Mhm. Yeah. I mean, I think patience went out the door a long time ago, especially in college football, unfortunately. And that's the reality we're at. And I think it's only going to get worse next year with the 12-team playoff. But speaking of which, let's look at the game for a moment. And I would like to add, when describing the USC UCLA rivalry, former UCLA head coach Red Sanders from 1949 to 1957 described it as, it's not a matter of life and death, it's more important than that. I mean, this game, it was. I thought USC could make a comeback, but I don't think they could. I mean, TJ Harden had a pretty good first quarter. I mean, Ethan Garbers was pretty good. Caleb Williams, of course, he made some pretty big plays, no doubt. Especially get that first touchdown for USC in the second quarter. I mean, 74-yard bomb to Brendan Rice. That was pretty big there. Whew. 14-10, UCLA going into halftime. And then we see just UCLA just trouncing all over them in the third quarter. I mean, we see Mr. Harden making some big plays in this big drive. I mean, we see him get another touchdown. And then on the next drive, we see USC, making some big plays on the kickoff return, 20-yarder. But unfortunately, Alex Johnson from UCLA recovers a fumble and returns it for a touchdown, which I think was the turning point of the game. I mean, USC's defense was just a complete and utter disaster today. I mean, the run game's a disgrace. The O-line couldn't protect Caleb Williams. I mean, Caleb was running around all over the place. He needs some help big time.
Now, Jackson, I will preface this. USC turned the ball over a lot today, more than they normally do. I think that was their own undoing right there. As you keep talking about UCLA, which you should, they played a great game, but USC also turned over the ball quite a bit today, and that did not help matters much. Especially Brendan Rice, who had that fumble in the first quarter, and then Caleb Williams gets picked off. Then it just kept spiraling out of control. And then eventually UCLA just pounded the rock and took it home from there.
Yeah, I mean, to your point about those turnovers, UCLA didn't have any turnovers. USC had all of them. I mean, 2 fumbles lost and that 1 interception. Good grief. No wonder why you lost, USC. You can't hold on to the ball. And as our friend always says, don't bat the freaking ball.
Okay.
Yeah,
we're
it's
down
just
by
one of those things.
a lot. But he's
Turnovers
got it.
bit them in the backside, Jackson, and it bit them at the wrong time. And for USC, obviously, this is disappointing. But they're next year, you're going to get a great recruiting class still, and USC's going to the Big Ten now. So let's see what they can do there. And as for UCLA, even though Chip Kelly may be out the door, at least they got the last laugh on USC for now. But Jackson, did Sam Hartman get the last laugh on Wake Forest, or did Wake Forest know too much about him?
I think, honestly, maybe Sam Hartman got the last laugh on him. Because, I mean, it's looking like it, 45-7. We see Sam Hartman had 21 of 29 completed passes, 277 passing yards, and 4 touchdowns against the Wake Forest Demon Deacons. I mean, wow. What's your take on this game, Austin?
Yeah, this I predicted in my preview video to be a 17-13 Notre Dame win. So I was thinking, well, Wake, they know a lot about Sam Hartman. They're going to throw defensive style looks at him, that maybe he's seen, but they're just going to keep mixing up, not let him get comfortable. But then as the game went on, I'm like, oh, Notre Dame's not playing around. Sam Hartman's like, we are not losing this game. I don't care that we lost last second to Ohio State or that we got trounced by my Louisville Cardinals. We're not losing to Wake. Sorry. We can lose all the other games, but we're not losing this one.
There you go. Yeah, don't be losing, man. You can't be doing that.
But unfortunately, Jackson, Notre Dame will not be able to watch their last regular season game next week because, take it away, buddy, your favorite network is going to get their game.
It's going to be on Pac-12 Network. I mean, and here's a funny thing. That's going to be the last game ever that we know of on the Pac-12 Network. So it's kind of like, I'm wondering how those network announcers are feeling. They're like, oh, yippee, this is going to be a great game. It's like, hey, Jam, what'd you find? Got a reporter job in Atlanta. What'd you get? I got an offer from San Francisco. What you got? What'd you get, Jim? I got a offer in Detroit.
And you want to know something, Jackson? What is that great last Pac-12 network game ever going to be? The lasting memory of the Pac-12 will be Notre Dame against. Take it away, good buddy.
Stanford. Old Stanford.
And you know what that means, Jackson, right? Will history repeat itself again? Is Stanford going to stun Notre Dame again?
Oh, Lord. I mean, they're going. The only thing they're going to spoil really is like a shot at a 10-win season.
But Jackson, speaking of possible 10-win seasons, let's talk about Iowa, shall we? Because that's still on the table. And Iowa did something today that they hadn't done in a minute, and that was clinch the Big Ten West, and they will meet the winner of Michigan, Ohio State, and Indy. And of course, 15-13 Iowa wins. Of course, Iowa wins like that. It wouldn't be an Iowa game without it. But what was your take, good buddy? I'm curious.
I will say, look at the line on this game. I mean, it's at 2.5 Iowa, right? And the over under was 33.5. And if you're looking at the betting lines, if you bet on a team to go over 2.5, but they win by 2, you lost. But if you bet on Illinois 2.5, that's a win there for you. I mean, it was a tight game. If Illinois was in Champaign playing this game, this would have been an upset victory. I will say, Deacon Hill had a pretty good game, it seems. 19 of 29 completed passes, 167 passing yards, and 1 touchdown. And let's look at the how this miraculous game-winning touchdown happened. So we see Caleb Johnson making some runs. He was the hero of today's game. How about that? Ran for a 30-yarder. But unfortunately, Illinois could not get it done. And Iowa's offense shockingly did just enough. I mean, they ran out the clock on that last drive. Bam. It was a 15-13 win. Everybody's playing celebration by cooling the game tonight in Iowa City.
Mm-hmm. And unfortunately for Illinois, they fell just short of a big time win, and they fell short of possible. They still have bowl eligibility in front of them. It's not completely gone. But Jackson, we speaking of bowl eligibility, I think we owe a certain Northwestern Wildcats an apology because I think they may be one of the most surprising teams in college football this year. Screw your James Madisons and your Liberties. Northwestern, let me clap it up for you. I'm sorry, Northwestern. I had you winning 2 games. I'm sorry. Coach David Braun, go ahead.
I had them winning 1 game. I didn't even think they could beat UTEP.
See, Northwestern Nation, Jackson didn't believe in you even more. Go after him. He's the bad guy here. But in all seriousness, Coach David Braun, what a job he did. I'm so happy for you, Northwestern. Y'all get to go bowling, and y'all get to enjoy something. After everything that occurred in the off season, man, I did not have this on my bingo card. But I will say though, so that is the conversation for Big Ten Coach of the Year all but wrapped up now, Jackson? Is it Mr. Braun's to take home?
Pretty much. I mean, nobody's giving the award to Harbaugh. I mean, I doubt they're giving that award to Ryan Day. I mean, it's all but David Braun's. It's got to be.
Now, the bigger question is, could he win National Coach of the Year? Or is there still too many good coaches out there for him to win it?
I think there's more coaches. I mean, that could probably go to maybe somebody like your boy Jeff Brom.
I mean, it very well could, but it's an interesting topic. But congratulations, Northwestern. I mean, y'all went through it bad this offseason with Pat Fitzgerald, and now y'all are 6-5, and you're going bowling, regardless of what happens next weekend. But Jackson, speaking of regardless of what happens, let's talk about Indiana, Michigan State, the old brass platoon game. Because both these teams, had nothing to play for except for the brass platoon. Did Indiana retain it 2 years in a row, or did Michigan State finally win a game? Of course.
Michigan State finally won a game.
Of course, Jackson. I picked Indiana. They let me down. See, this is why I can't trust Indiana. And I know.
Wow.
And Jackson, I caught a few minutes of this game. If Indiana hadn't missed those 2 field goals, they would have won this game. But Indiana does what Indiana does. What's your take on this game, good buddy, if you caught any of it?
I don't think I caught any of this game, unfortunately, for both teams. But I will say, it looks to me Tom Allen's in big trouble, especially being at 3-8. He did not do himself any favors. Do not.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, Jackson, his seat might be a little warm. But yeah, I caught
uh,
some of this, and Indiana missed 2 field goals, and I'm like, come on, Indiana, why can't you win anything 2 years in a row? But they didn't. And oh, we got to mention this, even though you don't like it, Jackson. Cupcake Week, congratulations to your Alabama Crimson Tide on a successful 66-10 beatdown of old Chattanooga. We're
yeah.
over here celebrating me. We got to celebrate you as well. We can't leave you out, good buddy. So, give
Well,
us your quick
Alabama
thoughts on this
won.
game.
Alabama won 6-10. Jalen Milrow had 13 of 16 completed passes, 197 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. Everybody got their turn today. Oh, Jermaine Burton had a pretty good game, 3 receptions, 105 receiving yards, 1 touchdown. And Alabama went over the line as they were the 44.5 favorite. They won by 56, so they went 12 points above the line. So they're good there. And third
So,
down
business
efficiency.
as usual.
So, I mean,
Sorry to cut you off, but
penalties
business
are
as usual.
true. Penalties are low, so I mean that's good. I like that. Get away from us, Burger King.
But
We
business as usual. Now,
we don't
Jackson,
true, but I mean
we
it's that's all of Cupcake Week I want to cover. So I mean, you know what? But
Jackson,
somebody forgot to tell
there is
that
one
to.
cupcake. I was about to
There
say,
is somebody.
you might want to tell. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, somebody forgot to remind New Mexico State that this is Cupcake Week. Especially Jerry Kill, man. I mean, dude has done a tremendous job at that university. I mean, I'm so amazed. And New Mexico State has a game next week against Jacksonville State on rivalry week. And then they got the Conference USA title game against Liberty. So if New Mexico State gets an 11-win season, it'll be the first time since 1960 that they got 11 wins. Man, this was a perennial dung heap when Jerry Kill first showed up. Dude's in his second year, but for those who haven't got a read on his career, he's done a tremendous job at Minnesota, did a tremendous job at Northern Illinois, and he did pretty good at Southern Illinois. And Brent Baird, I believe is his name. He was on the SEC live show at the Voice of College Football, and he said, "Don't be surprised if New Mexico State upsets Auburn." And they did.
Yes. Jackson, if we should have seen this coming, I mean, now the question is, Jackson, is Auburn going to have their Jekyll and Hyde moment next weekend against your Crimson Tide? Are they going to have their Jekyll moment and play up to competition? But
I think
yes,
honestly they will, because they were looking ahead to Bama, and New Mexico State saw that. They were like, we're gonna make Auburn remember us.
Mm-hmm. Well, speaking of making things memorable, Georgia getting out the belt on Tennessee today, spanking them like they owed them money. I mean, Jackson, if you want to touch on this real quick, go for it. I don't think there's anything other than Georgia just spanking their children at this point.
Oh, yeah. Tennessee acted bad. I mean, Tennessee got their butt beat. But, it's not the first time. They've gotten beaten Gainesville, Florida. They've gotten smacked around by the Crimson Tide. And, they were in the second half, and they got smacked in the face by Missouri, man. They got beat up like a punching bag. Carson Beck had a great game. 24 of 30 completed passes, 298 passing yards, and 3 touchdowns. And we got Marcus Rosemai Jackson That's a cool name, by the way. He had 7 receptions, 91 receiving yards, and 2 touchdowns. Dillon Bell and Brock Bowers, they took turns at getting some touchdowns as well. But that Georgia defense, good grief. I mean, well, they had 1 sack. But, oh, man, that Tennessee offense is good grief. That's the shocking part. No turnovers. But, I mean, there's little to none third down efficiency. 2 of 11. I mean, that's going to hurt you, man. Tennessee's looking like, ugh. Is
Yeah.
Tennessee a fraud? Are they a one-year wonder? Like, that's going to be the question for 2024. Was 2022 a fluke, or was 2023 just a rebuilding year?
I will say, I think a lot of it is Hendon Hooker, Cedric Tillman, Jalen Hyatt. That's a lot of talent to lose, and Tennessee thought that they can more than make up for it, but looks like they can't make up for it as much as they thought they could. And some programs like Georgia, Alabama, Ohio State, Michigan, when they lose NFL pro talent, they can just replace it and move on. Tennessee, I don't think it's that easy for them. They feel the effects of it for the next year, and they certainly did this year, as you can tell, because even though last year they got beat up by Georgia as well, at least with the talent they had a shot. This year, I never thought Georgia was in jeopardy. But, Jackson, speaking of having talent and maybe one-hit wonders, the question is, was Florida's win over Tennessee just that, a one-hit wonder? Because they blew it against Missouri, and now they may miss a bowl game.
Well, I mean, Harrison Mevis bailed him out again with that game-winning kick. I mean, he bailed out the Missouri Tigers against Kansas State earlier this year. But on the bright side, he didn't have to kick 61 yards against those Florida Gators. Because, I mean, it was only a 30-yarder. I mean, that was a big win right there. I mean, Brady Cook leading that game-winning drive for 12 plays, 62 yards. Man, that was pretty big. I mean, that big play, that 4th and 17 at the Missouri 33, and the game's on the line, 38 seconds left. Brady Cook's back to pass, and he sees Luther Burden, the third, and he throws it for a 27-yarder, and it's for the first down at the Florida 40. The game is still on the line. Pass incomplete. But on 2nd and 10, we see Brady Cook throwing an 11-yarder to Mekhi Miller, man. Looks like they're in field goal range. But let's make life a little easier for our kicker. 38 seconds left. 2nd and 10 at the Florida 29. Cook doing some cooking. Throws at the Mookie Sly Cooper for the 16-yarder at the Florida 13. And then we see Harrison Mevis getting ready for his George Blanda moment.
Being the best
and
takes hard work.
It's it. It's good. And it's a 33-31 win for the Missouri Tigers. Their New Year's Six bowl hopes are alive, especially next Saturday. I mean, not next Saturday. Next Friday on Black Friday on CBS, 2:30 p.m. against the Arkansas Razorbacks. And if they win that game, they will be in a New Year's Six bowl. What did you think about this?
Possibly. Possibly. Because it keeps it alive because Ole Miss is there too. And then you've got all these other teams like Bama and company. So we will see. But this definitely does help their scenario. I will say this, though. What the heck, Florida? You had the game won. If you just play prevent defense, they wouldn't have got the first down. On the fourth and 17, you play some prevent defense, cover 3-man. You play the soft zone. Don't let anything behind you. Just keep it all in front. Don't let it go deep. and you've got this game won, and you're bowl eligible, and you don't have to worry about playing Florida State to get bowl eligible. But what do? You give up 27 yards on 4th and 17, and then you lose it on a 30-yard kick. Now, Jackson, I know this may be early, but is it time for Billy Napier? Is his seat getting warm, or do you think Florida still believes in him?
He's got vote confidence for next year. They're putting him on that hot seat. I mean, even if they beat Florida State next Saturday, he's still on the hot seat. They're gonna be like, we're not gonna cut you slack. This is SC country, especially since we competed in the '90s and 2000s for natties. We believe we still can because we're Florida and everyone else is not.
Yes, that's the reason why I bring that up, because they think they're Florida and they have no patience. But Jackson, we got to talk about College Game Day, James Madison and App State. Now, we'll get to the team that a lot of people think got snubbed for them, but let's talk about James Madison App State. What an actually good game this was.
Oh, yeah. I forgot for a moment. This is App State we're talking about. They always play spoiler to the top dog. And James Madison was the top bulldog, and they chewed him on the butt in overtime.
Jackson, you were a smart man today. In our pick'em, me and Jeffrey both went James Madison. You went App State. Kudos to you. But I see I should have went App State. I should have picked them, because I agree with you, Jackson. They tend to do these kind of things. We all remember North Carolina this year, right? They almost had them. If maybe there wasn't a questionable PI call at the end, a couple PI calls. But yes, this was the College Game Day game.
Call, that pass interference call against North Carolina, that was some straight up BS right there. I mean, that was BS with 3 exclamation points. I mean, come on. That was so obvious. And you missed it, refs. Good grief. Nothing against North Carolina, though. I like North Carolina, but I like App State too. But that was obvious.
Yes. Jackson, let me ask you this. Did the fact that College Game Day came to this game maybe was a big reason why App State was able to pull off an upset? Too much hype?
I think it was. I mean, I was happy to, I was still mad about Game Day turning down Corvallis, but at the same time, it's like, as we'll get to it in a little bit, I should have known better. App State always, they're the spoiler to everybody.
Yes, they are the spoilers to everybody. And once again, they spoiled another perfect season. Well, Jackson, yeah.
I mean, that touchdown by, I mean, it was a great touchdown by App State. Game over, bam. It was a great one. Oh, man.
But Jackson, I'm glad you brought up Corvallis. How did they do tonight? What was it enough to sneak an upset? Because they were like, you know what, we're sick and tired of College Game Day not picking us. Let's show the world that, dang it, we could beat the best teams. And they lost by 2.
Yeah.
Oregon State, you had your chance.
Spencer McLaughlin, the host of Locked On Pac-12 and Locked On Ducks, was defending you. I mean, you had a lot of people in your corner, Oregon State. But at the same time, I am recognizing that Washington is looking like one of the best 4 teams in college football. Although I'm still mad at Washington for having an easy non-conference schedule. I mean, I don't abide by that, but oh well. I'm not going to make that. But I will say Michael Penix had a pretty good game. 162 passing yards, 2 touchdowns, 13 of 28 completed passes. He made some pretty big plays per usual. Roma Dunze was there with him. I mean, it's too bad that Washington scored 0 points in the second half, but that did not stop them. They were their defense was able to come through.
There we go. I will say though, Jackson, I'll preface this. I didn't watch much of this game. I was watching something else at the time, and I kind of caught the highlights of this. DJU, yikes! What kind of game did you have? Good grief! When the lights were on the brightest, you didn't show up. This is Clemson all over again. Because he did this at Clemson too. Against Notre Dame in that double overtime, he was great. And then against Boston College, he didn't do so hot. And now here at Oregon State, he's doing this to them too now. Like Jackson, if DJU would have completed a few more of those passes, maybe we'd be looking at a different score. But once again, Washington finds another way, and Washington will be in Viva Las Vegas on December 1st because they'll be playing for the final edition of the Pac-12 championship. So get ready, Vegas. The Huskies are coming, and they want the crown.
Well, speaking of Vegas, it looks like Oregon's getting closer and closer to get that second spot as they have just slayed the demon that is Arizona State. They slayed them 49-13. Holy cow. Bo Nix. Are we ready to say he's a Heisman candidate? I mean, dude had a ball today. I mean, 6 passing touchdowns, 404 passing yards, and 24 of 29 completed passes. What's your take on those Donald Ducks, my man?
I mean, this was a game I thought Oregon could lose. Now, hear me out, everybody. Hear me out. So I know everyone's going to be like, Austin, I think you got hit in your head one too many times. But hear me out. The thing about this is it was at Arizona State. And we all remember 2019. Oregon had the same exact thing going for them. They could have made the playoffs and everything. And what happened? Then quarterback Jaden Daniels spoiled the party that night. But unfortunately, this year there was no Jaden Daniels to spoil this party. And Arizona State could not get it done. And Oregon slayed the monster that was the desert. And Bo Nix may be the favorite to win the Heisman now. But Oregon, congrats on the win. But guess what? There's no rest for the weary because Oregon State says, we'd like to spoil your party too, And we're mad, we're angry, and we're coming to take it out on you. Now, will the Beavers do that? We'll stay tuned to find out. But great win for Oregon. All looking forward to that. But,
for sure.
As you said, Jackson, speaking of Vegas, UNLV, they need some respect on their name.
Yeah.
They
need that
with a great win over.
We definitely have to get to
go ahead.
One team that is still technically in conference play, fighting for that second spot. The Arizona Wildcats. Man, they got out the belt on Utah today. Man, what's your takeaway from this?
What my takeaway is Arizona's peaking at the right time. Noah Fafita, he's legit. He's the real deal. And, they just played better today. The desert strikes again. But, Jackson, I can't help but look back at this and say, if Cam Rising was healthy and playing, Utah may be in contention right now. Nothing against the pig farmer, but he just isn't Cam Rising. There's something special about Cam Rising you can't describe. He brings a different play style to this Utah team that Bryson Barnes doesn't. And, I'm happy for Bryson Barnes that he got his crack at it. But it just shows how valuable Cam Rising is to this team. And hopefully he's happy. Cam Rising is happy and healthy and recovering good. And hopefully, if he wants to, come back and play another year and lead Utah to a Big 12 championship next year. Or if he wants to go pro, best of luck to him. And hopefully he finds a team that'll love and cherish him like Utah.
Man, I mean, I'm impressed with this Arizona team. I mean, they should be able to beat Arizona State next week, but they'll definitely have to pull for Oregon State against Oregon to get some help. But then again, we're not sure how things are working. I mean, we'll definitely have to go over the tiebreaker for sure. I mean, the conference tiebreaker.
Well,
I mean,
Jackson,
got 2
I
wins.
think Arizona State's how does the tiebreaker work in the Pac-12? Because even if Oregon loses, Oregon still gets in, right?
Well, because that's the thing, Colorado's 4-7. They only got 1 conference win. That's bad. Stanford's got 2 conference wins. That's bad. Washington State's got 2 conference wins. Not good. Utah's got 4 conference wins. Cal's got 3 conference wins. USC's got 5 conference wins. And Arizona State's got 2 conference wins. If they lose to Oregon State would have 6 conference wins. And let's look at Arizona. Arizona, 2 conference wins. Washington State, 2 conference wins. Oregon State, right now they got 5 conference wins. And if Oregon State beats Oregon, 6 conference wins. And UCLA, they got 4 conference wins. And if they beat Cal, that means 5. Colorado's got 1. Utah's got 4. And it's likely going to be 5 next week against Colorado. So I believe Arizona would get the tiebreaker. I'm not sure, but I'm going to have to do the math again just to be sure. I got to write this down.
See, here's the thing. Why does the Pac-12 have to have all this wacky number system? Why can't they be like a normal conference and be like, let's do your best opponent and then against common opponents? Why do you got to have all this wacky math, guys? This is crazy. Makes our job harder.
Well, I guess the tiebreaker would be who beat USC? Oregon. Arizona, did you beat USC? No.
That's why I said, why don't they just do like the SEC and the Big Ten? Like, who's your best win and who's your worst? What's your worst win? Like they do for those other conferences instead of all this wacky Pac-12 math.
That's a good question. I mean, we don't know how things are working out, but I guess we will wait and see. But like you said, we have to pay respect to somebody like UNLV. Oh my God, 31-27 over Air Force. That's pretty big right there. And let's take a look at where they're at for the moment, shall we? They are leading the conference standings in the Mount West. Might we?
I believe they clinched this. I think they clinched the Mountain West, haven't they, good buddy? Sorry to cut you off. But aren't they in the title game now with this win?
Well, let's see. They beat San Jose State. They officially do, good friend. I mean, they got that win over Air Force. And they
as
don't
you
have
see the
Boise
conference
State.
record. Yeah, I was about to say, sorry to cut you off there again, good buddy. About to say they're 6-1. I think they have. I think they've clinched, haven't they?
Yeah. It'll be official come, let's see, next Saturday. But the question is, if UNLV wins and the AAC is looking like a total cluster, will we see the Mount West get that group of 5 team in the New Year's Six?
I don't know, Jackson, because the American Conference, they've got 3 really good teams. UTSA, SMU, and Tulane are all still right there. They may be the group of 5 representatives. But
oh yeah,
we shall see.
Well, what
And
really
Tulane's got
doesn't
to.
help. Well, I mean,
Oh,
like
go
we got
ahead.
ourselves like a winner take all spot on Black Friday on ABC. We got Tulane playing UTSA. Winner of that game gets into the AAC title game. And we see SMU. They beat Navy. They get in. That would be a tremendous end to the American Athletic Conference year at SMU as they enter the ACC next year.
That'll be so interesting seeing SMU as an ACC game. But Jackson, speaking of game conferences that are in complex, the Big 12, Oklahoma State, your destiny. You win next week, you get a crack at Texas, and you get to ruin their playoff chances. Send them with an adios to the SEC. And all you have to do is beat BYU. That's all you have to do. But that's easier said than done. As we all know, Jackson, just ask Auburn.
Oh, yeah. Stop looking ahead to your opponents. That's going to bite you in the rear, man. And I will say, Oklahoma State looked like they were down for a moment, especially in the first half. They had us going in the first half. I'm not going to lie. I mean, they were not doing so well. But Ollie Gordon's coming to save the day for the Oklahoma State Cowboys. I mean, good Lord. 3 of those touchdowns. I mean, wow. Big day for our man Ollie. 164 rushing yards, 25 carries, and he got 5 receptions and 16 receiving yards. Great day for our man Ollie Gordon. But our other question is Dana Holgerson gone? Or is he getting that vote of confidence for 2024?
You know, Jackson, if you would have asked me after that miraculous West Virginia win, I might have said yes. I'm kind of thinking he's washed away a lot of his goodwill by now. My goodness. They're going to miss a bowl game and everything.
Unless
Jackson,
they got good
I think
APR.
That is true. That is true. But Mr. Holgerson has done stepped in it. I think his time at Houston might be over come Black Sunday. But Jackson, what about Mr. Neil Brown? Has he saved his job today?
Oh,
Did he at least beat the Bearcats? Did he at least beat the Bearcats of Cincinnati?
Oh, yeah. He most certainly did. They won 42-21. I mean, I think honestly we're at the point where Neil Brown, unless they lose to Baylor next Saturday, I think that he's safe for 2024. Now, is he safe beyond 2024 is the question. I mean, West Virginia had a pretty good day today. I mean, we saw Garrett Green had a pretty good day. Jaheim White, 204 rushing yards, 1 touchdown, 21 carries. Garrett Green not only had 12 of 19 completed passes, 210 passing yards, 1 touchdown, but he had 11 carries, 154 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns, 4 total touchdowns, right? And he had 364 total yards. Great game for our man Garrett Green. What do you think, Austin? But yeah.
Mike was not working there for a second, good buddy. Is playing the mess around with me, but you know, I'm happy for West Virginia and their fans. Great job on the win today. Garrett Green played pretty good ball today, and they were able to get it done. And now they are 7-4, potentially 8-4. Could be better than expected. I don't think a lot of people had them winning 8 games, but here they are, and they were picked last in the Big 12, I do believe, in the preseason. So, shows you that Neil Brown's still got a little juice left. But Jackson, the Big 12 was crazy today, because especially for the Kansas teams, Kansas, they almost had it. Again, they almost had it.
Well, they don't have their starting QB and their backup QB. I did say, when Kansas is healthy, they are a 10-win team. But when they're not, they're good enough to be bowl eligible. Nothing against Kansas. We love Kansas. I know I do. I've been harping on them all season. I mean, they are a great team in all college football. But unfortunately, the losing streak against Kansas State continues in the Sunflower Showdown. Will Howard had a pretty good game with 3 total touchdowns, 2 passing and 1 rushing, 18 rushing yards, and 65 passing yards. That's a total of 183 total yards. I mean, great day for this young man. Devin Neal had 18 carries, 138 rushing yards, 3 touchdowns. Unfortunately, he could not get the win for the Kansas Jayhawks. But we cut this young man some slack. There's always a next year. And I mean that at the bottom of my heart.
And Jackson, unfortunately for you and a lot of Jayhawk fans, there will be no 10-win season this year.
Unless they somehow play at Hawaii.
Yeah. Well, unfortunately, I don't see that for happening. But Jackson, it is now official. Texas may be indeed back because they are going to the Big 12 championship and they have a date in Dallas against who we have no clue. It could be a number of teams.
They have a date in Dallas. We're not ready to say they're back yet. There's 2 more games to go.
Now, look at here, mister. You were the one saying, oh, Texas is back. They're back. They're back. They're not going to spoil it. Now, you can't be switching sides on me. No, Jackson. You on the sword. You're going to die on the sword that you said Texas was back. Now, stick with that. Don't you go changing on me.
Oh, man, I love this show, man. I love it. This is late night television right here, ladies and gentlemen. Tune in to our channels for some real late night entertainment.
But yeah, Jackson, you were just telling me last week Texas ain't gonna blow it. Texas is gonna do just fine. Now you all of a sudden you're not ready to say that they're not back when you were preaching it last week.
Ah, man, I love getting you going, man. Oh, man, I do.
See, here's the thing, Jackson. You can't be flip-flopping. You got to pick one side or the other. You're like a pancake. One side's buttery, pause, and the other side's just plain. You either stick on the buttery side and let it melt, pause, or you stick on that plain side where there's nothing to it.
Oh,
and I still am sticking on my point that Texas is, you're back in the Big 12 title game, but you're gonna blow it either to Tech or in the champ game.
I think they're back for sure.
I think Texas is gonna blow up one of these next 2 games. Though, I just feel it. I'm sticking to my sword.
They won't. They're gonna win. They're gonna win out.
And unfortunately, Jackson, the fighting Campbell soup was not enough to warm us up. We were left out in the cold today.
Oh, man. It looked pretty slow in the first half, but the second half was tremendous for the Longhorns. Unlike past Longhorn games where, it looked like they were going down, but tonight was a pretty good night in Ames, Iowa for the Texas Longhorns.
it was. They got it done. Tough road environment, and they got it done. And that's all you can
Yeah.
say. Texas took care of business. But like anything, this was Cupcake Week. A lot of games, were not very entertaining for the most part. Next week, oh boy, we're getting into the nice juicy center of that hamburger next week, good buddy. I cannot
Oh
wait for
man.
that.
Well, we'll say there was
And
one
it's
fun game that we missed out on NBC. I mean, or you want to check it out on the Peacock app. I mean, this Nebraska Wisconsin game. Unfortunately, they're still kind of cursed by Scott Frost. And Wisconsin still has their winning ways against Nebraska, and it's the 22nd. Their winning season streak continues, and they're still going to the bowl games. But yeah, that touchdown in overtime, oh man, that was pretty big right there. Braylon Allen,
yeah,
that it's like a push right there. The offensive line, that whole team was pushing Allen to get that touchdown right there.
yeah, Jackson, you would know better than me. I didn't see a single snap of this game, so I have no clue who had won or anything. Good buddy, I'm glad you know about this because this was one I did not pay attention to.
Well, these are the future Big Ten. I mean, they don't look like it right now, but I think Matt Rule and Luke Fickle can get the job done, and I think Mr. Rule can end the losing streak. I just don't know when. I mean, maybe it's next year or year after, but he can get the job done for the Nebraska Cornhuskers. I think he can.
I mean, not all hope is lost for Nebraska. Not all hope, but
I mean, they got
anywho,
that. I mean, they got that shot at bowl eligibility against Iowa next Saturday. So I mean,
Jackson,
that'll be pretty cool.
we all know Iowa is. Iowa plays down to competition. And we all remember last year, too, good buddy, when we all picked Iowa and then Nebraska won.
Maybe they'll do it again. Maybe Nebraska can get that magic out again.
I mean, they very well could because what does Iowa still have left to play for? They're going to the Big Ten title game. I mean, maybe a New Year's Six, maybe.
Oh man.
But yeah, there's a lot of good games today. Obviously, Ole Miss taking care of things. Mississippi State getting it done. Texas A&M, Arkansas, and then my favorite of the day, South Carolina, Jackson. Oh, that was my favorite. That just added to the day. Already,
man,
what was a great day for me. Those cocks beat up those cats.
I will say our friend Darrell was not too happy when he called into the Voice College Football. He's like, Kentucky, bad team, they are not looking so good.
See, Jackson, the order has been restored. Kentucky, you can have basketball, but football, this is our sport, okay? And next weekend, not to get too cocky too soon, we need to beat Kentucky to restore the order even more and show them that when it comes to football, Louisville runs this, not you. But yeah, it should be very interesting for next week, good buddy. A lot of great games that went down.
True. Well, I have one question for you. Austin. You know how USC calls it a perfect day when USC wins and then when UCLA and Notre Dame lose on the same day? Now, Cincinnati lost today, Memphis lost today, Kentucky lost today, and Louisville won. Would you call that a perfect day as a Louisville fan?
Now, I'm a younger fan, so for me, I don't know the history behind Memphis, Cincinnati, and all of them as much, because they obviously we don't play them as much, and which kind of sucks for younger fans like me who don't understand that history. Like, obviously, Jackson understands a little bit more. Like, Kentucky is the main one we worry about. We want to beat them more than we do anybody. And a lot of times when you only play a certain rival all the time and you don't play your other rivals enough, a lot of fans, even the older ones, get to the point where it's like, like for you, Jackson, Florida, y'all don't play them often enough, but those were some great games back in the day. I remember I remember watching those on YouTube at night because they're so fun to watch. Tim Tebow against Nick Saban, and Nick Saban pulling his hair out because he doesn't know how to stop a mobile quarterback. But if Alabama played Florida more, maybe Bama fans would understand the history behind it. Just kind of like with me with Cincinnati, Memphis. That's why I don't get caught up in them as much as maybe I should. Kentucky's the only team that we really play often, and I can't stand the fact that Kentucky can hold that over our head that they've beaten us at football. Like, basketball, sure, have it, but we're supposed to run football. But yeah.
Well, you're going to get a shot at running it in football next Saturday on ABC, 11 a.m., 12 p.m.
Jackson.
Your
Now, here's the thing, Jackson. Me and you both next week, we're playing our rivalry games. You know what our rivals are thinking right about now. Let's mess up their season by beating them next week.
Oh, yeah.
Auburn and Kentucky are thinking, let's mess it up. They would love nothing more than to say, hey, Alabama, you want to know why you ain't going to the playoffs? Even though you won the SEC, we beat you. Same for Louisville. Same for us. Even if we beat Florida State, Kentucky could say, we still messed up your season.
Yeah.
Just how it goes. Every rival thinks that way. It's the natural thing to do.
I do think, I hope that you guys get in the playoffs, but, everybody's like talking about, you're going to get in because of the Jordan Travis injury. Don't think that. I think if you get left out, it's going to be that Pittsburgh loss. That's what I think. I think the committee's going to be like, well, you lost to a Pittsburgh team, but it's like I always say, Pittsburgh is where ranked teams go to die.
Mm-hmm. In which, not to go too long on this topic, but, a lot of people are saying, oh, if y'all get in, y'all are going to get thumped. And that may be true. But here's the thing, though. What if we have a TCU like? What if we win our first playoff game? I mean, everyone thought TCU was going to get thumped by Michigan, did they not? Like, even Michigan fans were thinking, "Oh, we're gonna take them to the woodshed," and as you like to say, and what happened? They got beat. Michigan did Michigan things. So therefore, who's to say we can't pull a TCU? Now, if you ask me, do I think we could beat Georgia, Ohio State? No. Could we beat a Washington? Maybe. Could we beat a Penn State? Maybe. Could we beat a Michigan? Depends on what Michigan team we get that day. Could we beat Oregon? More than likely not. But we shall see, though. I know we're not beating Alabama. That just doesn't happen.
But it would be fun to see if Louisville can go have a talk with Michigan in the barn. Be like, oh, we gotta go talk in the barn real quick.
Oh, good Lord. Not the barn. But yeah, enough of this. Speaking of barn talk, Jackson, what do you got going on in the barn of yours, so to speak?
Man.
What kind of stuff are you bailing out for your audience? That's a weird way to go out with that, but go ahead. Take it out, buddy.
Well, tomorrow night, of course, you will catch me on College Football After Dark on the Voice of College Football. And, of course, you will see me tomorrow night You'll see me there tomorrow night, and you will see Monday night. I'll be on the Ocho, where we talk about the latest in Big Ten football. And, Friday night, I did episode 16 of the Jacksonian with host of Locked On Patriots and lead Patriots reporter of the Patriots Country from Fan Nation, Mike Debate, where we discussed a lot about the Patriots for 2023. We talked a lot about the quarterback situation, and we also discussed as to whether it was time for the Belichick to end or not. But at the same time, you'll also hear what we thought of comedian Bill Burr, seeing what he had to say on what was going on the Belichick era, where he called Patriots fans who wanted Belichick out spoiled brats. But also, tune in Tuesday night at 8 p.m. Central Time and 9 p.m. Eastern Time, where I have on episode 17 of the Jacksonian live and ready to go with John D'Animo, the host of the Ocho at the Voice College Football and the co-host of Michigan Football at the Voice College Football, where we give our take on the alleged sign stealing allegations, everyone's favorite topic. And we talk about the Jim Harbaugh suspension. We talk about, Bill Burr's take on it from the Rich Eisen show. We talk about the Michigan Maryland takeaways, and we give our take as to whether Michigan can get it done for a third straight year against the Ohio State next Saturday on Big Noon Kickoff. We go over all that Tuesday night right here on this channel at Jackson Johnson on the Jacksonian. Stick around. And by the way, Austin, my good man, what have you got planned for the next few days? And also Wednesday night, I'm doing a college basketball preview show with Will, because I would be doing it Thursday, but that's Thursday's Thanksgiving, and you don't go working on Thanksgiving. But I will be releasing some reaction videos for Thursday. What you got planned?
So, programming note for us here, real fast, to all of our people that join us. We will still be live Saturday night after all the games go final. We will talk about Thursday's Ole Miss, Mississippi State, all the Black Fridays, and all the big games from Saturday. We'll be talking about all that in one action-packed day on Saturday. So join us 11:30, 11:40 this coming Saturday. We will still be live for that on both of our channels, whichever one you like. Whether you like vanilla or chocolate, they're both delicious. You'll like them both.
Oh.
But anyway, or mint chocolate chip if you like to get a little funky with it, as they say. Not my type of cup of tea. I'm a cookies and cream guy. But anywho, this is not ice cream. But yes, that's what's coming up on our end of things together here. And then number two, as far as I go, if you're watching on my channel, I'll have, my preview for week 13. I'll have, some previews out talking about, some of the great rivalries, talking about Auburn, Alabama, NC State, North Carolina. Some of those previews coming out this week. Be on the lookout for those. And, my weekly pick 'em. Make sure you check it out. I do great work with it. I try to, at least. And I just passed 20 subscribers. Thank you to everyone that subscribed, liked, commented, and watched. Thank you very much. Hopefully I'm making good content for you guys, and hopefully I can keep it going. And as always, like, comment, subscribe, click on notification bells for mine and Jackson's channels. We do great stuff together, and we do great stuff on our own. And, we're looking forward to it. And Jackson, before we get out of here, since this is the week of Thanksgiving, what are 3 things you're grateful for before we head out tonight?
I'm grateful for those I care about in my life, and you're one of the people I'm grateful for. That I'm glad that you're in my life. It's I'm glad that I've known you since for 13 months, and I look forward to talking with you for another 13 months about what's going on in the college football world, the pro sports world, and what's going on in our daily lives, so to speak. And our other friends, Will and Jeffrey, and I'm thankful for my big old bear, and I'm thankful for my other relatives, mom and dad, and sister Maggie, and brother Brian, and Aunt Kelly, Uncle Key, and Nona, and I got my grandmother and granddaddy Hal, and Aunt Libby, and my friends, Jim and Nancy and Bella the golden retriever, and I'm grateful for the voice of college football community as well, and I'm also grateful that I'm seem to be doing well here on YouTube and Twitter, and I'm grateful to all you guys because I mean you are what make or break me, so to speak. You help me get to where I'm at in life. So I appreciate all your help and helping me get to where I'm at, ladies and gents. What are three
Yeah,
things you're
I,
thankful, man?
Jackson, I'm glad you asked. I'm thankful for, for the Almighty Lord above, Jesus Christ. He put me on this earth to do this here. I'm thankful for health and family. Wouldn't be here without them. And I'm thankful for you guys, Jeffrey, Jackson, Will. Everybody that I met along the way. Y'all been a big support to me, and I wouldn't be here without you guys. You're a big part of my life, and I'm proud that you're in it. And I'm proud that I get to share this stuff with you guys. That you get to see me at my highest moments and my lowest. And for my audience out there, I'm thankful that you get to see me grow each week on YouTube, and you get to see me enjoy my Cardinal wins and my Cardinal losses. And for you especially, Jackson, I've enjoyed this journey we're on together. And it's not over yet. We still got more left. We got bowl games coming up. We got rivalry week. We got conference title week. We still got plenty to cover. But those are some of the things I'm thankful for. And let's continue, everybody. Everybody have a happy Thanksgiving and a God bless evening. Let's keep it going, guys. Let's enjoy the ride we're on.
There we go. And for that, we wish you all a good night and stay safe, sleep well, and stay warm. It is cold out. And like, comment, subscribe, click notification bell. We'll catch you next time. And remember, stay warm. It's cold out.
And remember, it's always Louisville.